So 2022 is over. What are my three bigger takeaways from the year? Hey, what's up? This is Ed Drummond with Capstone Realty Professionals on Friday, the 6th of January. Crazy that we're already through the first week of the year. Today I'm actually doing this video on Friday, which sometimes I do it on Thursday. That's why I always have to kind of look at the time down below. If it takes me extra long, then you know it's probably the wrong day. But today, wanted to go through those three kind of takeaways. I've been looking back at last year, going through the numbers, figuring out, for forecasting, what does this next year look like? What are our goals really for this next year? What things can we really be doing better? What things did we do right? All of those things. It's kind of the time to reflect. I think December this year really spent a lot of time still in the trenches, really doing a lot of working on projects that, because the market had been so crazy over the last few years, things that we just hadn't had time to do, including even like reevaluating our CRM and re-implementing that and making that happen so that we could come out of 2022, 2023 going gangbusters, right? So that was a good flip. But even the small things like website, like updating those things, and it's just a lot of things in December. So this has been a good week of seeing how December has the work that we put in December is working and starting to move already. The market hasn't really shifted much from December in that, it's coming off of last week. We're still seeing that the trend right now is properties are still off the market. So supply is relatively short. Demand is still waning. But because supply still is a little bit better than demand for the most part, we're still trending as a balanced or even leaning more towards a seller's market. And I'll show you something later in this video quickly that you'll be able to check on the regular what our market looks like from what I refer to always as the Cromford report. I'm going to give you something that can help. All right, so three things that I learned. One was that leasing got a lot harder this last year, and how we know that is we did 75% more lease-only deals where someone contacted us and said, hey, can you just lease my property for me? I don't know why it's not moving. Can you do this? And we don't market up until this year. If you go to our new site, which we launched a few new pages on our main site that speaks more to who we are, you'll see that the lease only button, it's not working yet, so you can click on it, but it ain't gonna work. The other three leading up to it do, but now we also have a lease only, we also have maintenance buttons. Those two are gonna tie into future initiatives as to what we're rolling out to make sure that it's all encompassing so people know where they can go for each one of those items. We did, so 75% more of the lease onlys. The leasing also got tough because we saw, expenses coming in from different places that we hadn't before. So, whereas, again, this is constantly that shifting things and figuring out, all right, how are we going to pivot? Or, if pricing goes up, for example, like Zillow started pricing this year for rentals. I don't know if you guys have known that, per day. So the longer a property sits on the market, the more we pay for the house to be on the market. So it's been this mad dash to figure out the best possible approach, because at the end of the day, who wants a flipping humongous bill from Zillow at the end of the month for, arguably we have 20 plus properties on the market every single month. So again, these are all things that we're working with to make sure that we can stay ahead of it. Leasing, number one. Number two, we did more off-market sales this year than on-market sales. And what I mean by that is the stuff that touched the MLS, we did more that didn't touch the MLS because we could make more through these hedge funds at the beginning of the year, right? We had this mad push of just selling these properties until that absolutely stopped. That's never happened before. Like, that's just a very, to me, it's just such a weird year to see that it went that direction. What that means, selling definitely changed this year, but moving forward, the sales market, we definitely have to be, for agents that are still absolutely going to set themselves apart in this market, they've got to adopt new strategies, new technologies, new all kinds of things to get houses sold. Because at the end of the day, you'll see the numbers are the numbers. We had 50% less sales this year, which for us, consistent with the market, which is just crazy. For us, property management increased by 25%, which was cool. But again, the sales side dipped for everyone. So it was, or I don't want to say everyone, but we're no different on that side. So it was definitely one where property management really has continued to flourish in the way that we're building out those systems and those processes to make it better, right? I think we work on a system and process every single week, which is awesome. It keeps things fresh, and honestly, it keeps me coming back to this office every day. Cool. Web stuff, we got that done. The other third thing, relationships are by far the most important thing in this business. Relationships have gotten us through so much in the last year. From your relationship to the relationships of our vendors, to the relationships with our tenants, the relationships within the office, the relationships, in my opinion, are success in real estate and in property management. There is no other way around that. If we don't have the good relationships, if we can't call on a friend, like the Lifeline, right? Like that show. If we can't do those things, if we can't call in a favor, if we can't get that stuff done in this business, in this market, I don't know. I don't know where we'd be, because I called in a lot of favors this year. A lot of you I appreciate. Thank you. Let's see. So from that, we've got that relationships are more important than ever. I think they're always important, but this year showed me more than ever that it's like, it's family. It's transparency breeds trust, in my opinion, right? I was telling the team this where I was talking about transparency, and I think sometimes I can go overboard with transparency when talking to a new investor, when talking to a new client. I might give off the wrong impression that management is horrible. I joke about it, right? I firmly believe in everything that we're doing, so much so. Of course, I do it myself. You all know this. I love what this produces. I love the service that we offer. I love the team that we have. I think we are by far the best in the Valley. And I tell people that, and I believe in what we're building, and I appreciate you for supporting us. All right, I mentioned that we are going to get to these numbers, and here, let me pull something up using my new handy-dandy tool that I learned here a couple months ago. All right, so this is straight up from the Cromford Report. You can go to cromfordreport.com. It's on the first page. This is free, and it's just the index that I talk about. And what we're seeing here, if you look at this section right here, this is the market index as a whole. 100 is balanced. That is a balanced market. When we look at the Cromford Index, when we look at the Cromford Report, we're looking at the index through the eyes of a seller. So green means good seller. Red means bad seller, right? So in this situation, we've got a supply index, and supply is low, right? For the amount of houses we should have on the market, supply is lower than it should be, meaning that right now, if you put your house on the market as a seller, you have less competition. However, if you look at the demand is a little bit slower than we are accustomed to at this time. So when you look at this demand, the balance between the good supply, bad demand, puts us right at this market index of 100. Now, if you look at most of the communities throughout the Valley here over this last month, most of them have increased in their Cromford Index. Again, coming up to 100 or over 100. leading to people to say, okay, well, at 100.1, we're at a pretty balanced market, but for some communities, we're in the 150, we're in the 160, and then you have others that are below 100. So relatively balanced right now at 101.5 as the market as a whole. Cool. I hope this helps. I really appreciate you watching. And this year, I'm super excited about things to come. You'll see some things that are more client-facing, that you'll see changes. I mean, if you go to our website right now, you'll see some new pictures of the team, which we got done in December as another thing that we had done that I'd mentioned. But all these different things that are going to lead to the market just being a better place this year, as I feel significantly more prepared than we have in the past for going into and entering a new year. And look forward to adventuring this journey with you and getting it done. If you have suggestions for anything you'd love to see from us, if you've got feedback, if you have testimonials, anything you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. And as always, enjoy the weekend. I hope you're sharing it with somebody that you love. Take care.